Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. So patch 6.1's been with us for approximately a month now, and it's been shown up for exactly what it is, a placebo patch. There is nothing here of worth whatsoever. Even the Blackrock Foundry raid, which was completed and tested in the beta for Warlords of Draenor, was pushed back to open nearer to 6.1's release in an effort to make it passive patch content. The most disappointing factor of this though is not just the complete and utter lack of anything to do, but the fact with a 220 strong team and a past record with substantially less numbers of employees, Blizzard could have easily pushed out a whole lot more than they did. So this is where I come in. In this video, I'm going to give you my 5 things in no particular order, because some of them actually link together, to what exactly we should have got included in patch 6.1 for yours and my enjoyment. First up, we have the island of Farallon, situated off the northeastern coastline of Gorgrond. Fun fact, this island was actually included in the original map of Draenor shown off at BlizzCon 2013, along with a much smaller island off the southwestern coast. However, when the game was released, both of these islands had been removed from the map. When questioned about this, Blizzard gave an extraordinary answer, saying, "We didn't want to feel pressured to have to make content for these places if they remained." Pretty ironic, considering 6.1 showed us clearly that Blizzard didn't feel pressured to make any content at all. Sadly, if you wanted to see any hint at Farallon in the World of Warcraft, you have to go to Netherstorm in Outland, as this place is in fact a destroyed version of Farallon that started to bleed into the twisted nether. So this is one of the reasons why Farallon was an absolute must. Players needed something substantial to do, and Farallon could offer that in both size and scope. It could have easily have worked on 2 levels as well, either to progress the Iron Horde storyline or to act as a breakaway from it, as we've been pretty much dealing with the Iron Horde since patch 5.3. Let's face it, there is so little difference between them and the Corcron. MMO Champion even data mined a Farallon under construction during the beta, but nothing so far has emerged. But it does show off Iron Horde and Ogre influences here, and lore tells us that the Laughing Skull clan, as well as a breakaway faction of Draenei and a plant-based species called the Farah, are also in residence here. So that leads us very nicely into the second item that we needed in 6.1, and that is properly constructed factions to work for. Blizz pretty much dropped the ball when it came to factions in Warlords of Draenor, and Emperor Shao-How'd the whole thing up. And what I mean by that is, one thing that didn't go down particularly well with the player base on Timeless Island patch 5.4 was the incredibly boring rep grind for the late Emperor. So it came as a staggering surprise when Blizz decided to adopt this method for grinding rep with pretty much every single faction in WoD. Turning up to an area and spending hours upon hours killing creatures for low numbers of rep is not remotely fun, and things needed to change. The population of Farallon could have offered that. The Laughing Skull faction could have been adapted for the Horde to have been a breakaway tribe from the people in Gorgrond, and therefore not have conflicted with players who have chosen the trading post as one of their garrison buildings. The Alliance could have lent aid to what would have surely have almost been an outnumbered and outgunned band of Draenei, and their antagonists would have come in the form of the Farah, Ogres, and also the Iron Horde. Plenty of options there to make varied and interesting quests. And although Blizz did saturate us with dailies in Mists of Pandaria, we're not adverse to the odd few, and this could have been the faction that offered them. Also, throw in the hugely popular storyline questing during the 5.1 rep gains. The best thing about that patch was how random elements of storyline were added when working through your domination point or Lion's Landing questing. This would have also been an excellent method to show off and tell whatever story they wanted to here. And with new factions come new rewards. A brand new Quartermaster could have offered a mount, gear, toys, pets, etc, etc to make it feel worthwhile. Instead, in patch 6.1 we have yet another mount waiting in the wings to go live on the Blizzard store. So that takes us to our third piece of content that was really needed, and it may come as no surprise that to me it materializes in the form of new dungeons. At the very least one, but preferably two. The first to take place on Farallon itself, make it relevant to the current content that we're doing after all. And second, wait for it, to be in the Caverns of Time. We are long overdue a Caverns of Time dungeon where once more we must travel back to in some way influence how events turn out in our present. And before anyone says, isn't WoD one big Caverns of Time dungeon essentially? It isn't, because it takes place in present day in an alternative timeline. So to us, there's no time travel involved whatsoever. Remember back to old Hillsbrad foothills, Black Morass and the culling of Stratholme. We were there at very pivotal moments in the WoW universe. Wouldn't it be awesome to be at yet another? And the best thing about it is, it doesn't have to have any bearing on what's currently going on in the storyline of the game. It can be a complete and utter break from it all. Chromie could even open a portal for us on Draenor itself, and therefore it wouldn't pull us out of this whole WoD immersion that Blizzard want us to be in. And a dungeon based on Farallon where our attentions would be focused makes a lot of sense too, and once more can act as a break in content with a potential rep reward inside if people wanted to sit out the dailies for a day or two. With the current crop of dungeons now being completely outgeared by the vast majority of people, Blizz once more needed to have stepped up and offered us a new instance-based challenge. The fourth thing that should have been added that was made even more clear by the storyline unfolding with the legendary ring quest is we needed a much bigger connection to Kilrogg. Without going into spoilers too much, a rather big event happens during this stage of the quest line, and yet we've had nothing to do with him at all in Warlords of Draenor, with only a very brief cameo made during the starting zone at level 90 in Tanaan Jungle. We can't empathise with this guy. We really needed to have had a run-in with Kilrogg during 6.1 to make him relevant to us. The Garrison storyline method would have been a perfect way to offer this to us, either acting as a completely new storyline in case you've already completed the one on offer, or to work in tandem alongside it if you haven't. Players shouldn't be starved of content just because they work at different speeds to one another. We should have locked horns with Kilrogg and maybe even have engaged him in combat at the end of this quest line, only for him to either get away or, the one that I prefer, the odds to have been heavily against us and we're the ones forced to flee, lick our wounds and live to fight another 6.2 day. This also sets Kilrogg up as a genuine force to be reckoned with. All the other warlords have had their moment in the sun. Kargath was the very first raid boss, fresh from people dinging level 100 and therefore storyline fresh in our heads. Blackhand played an awesome role in Talador and then had his own raid. Durotan has been a huge help to the Horde in Frostfire Ridge and beyond. Nazul has been the bane of the Alliance in Shadowmoon Valley and then he got his own dungeon. Hellscream's been popping up making cameos everywhere, and Gul'dan has been a huge pain in everybody's neck and let's face it, is the true star of Warlords of Draenor. And then there's Kilrogg, who's done absolutely nothing. 6.1 was the perfect opportunity to have brought him into our crosshairs, with the main rumble in the Tanaan Jungle coming at the Iron Citadel in 6.2. So for my fifth and final piece of content that I would have added, it's one thing that I used to love but I'm not doing anymore in WoW, and that is PvP. However, it doesn't stop me from having a huge amount of sympathy for the PvP community, who have been royally screwed in WoD. Now, I'm not going to go into class balances, which is all over the place right now and we know it. I'm talking about options. In Warlords, it's Ashran or bust when it comes to choices, unless you've got no issue with doing older content. I cannot understand at all why there hasn't been a new BG added to WoD. The 10-year anniversary Taryn Mills South Shore debacle is not factoring in here, as it was an event and nothing more. How have we got 2 patches in without one remains a complete mystery, because the one thing that Draenor has in absolute abundance is amazing areas to draw inspiration from to create one. You just have to look at the phenomenal locations on this planet to see that any of the zones on offer could be the source for a well laid out BG. Not only that, but how many arenas are around the place as well? Loads! Why on earth hasn't one of these been used to create a new arena area for PvPers to play in either? In my 6.1, there would have been 1 BG and 1 arena. These are staggering oversights which 6.1 could and should have addressed. My personal idea for a BG would have taken place in the marshlands of the Spires of Iraq, something we've never seen before, with huge fungi looming imposingly overhead and everyone ankle deep in water, an environment which really hasn't been explored yet in PvP. I bet you yourselves are already brain farting about which zone and area you could imagine your BG to be in, and yes, it really is that easy to draw inspiration from, and clearly in my eyes should have been implemented. So there you go, these are my 5 pieces of content which I believe should have made their way into 6.1 but never even stood a chance. Let me know what yours would be in the comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Those links are in the description down below, and I'll be back with more stuff very soon. You take care everybody. Bye bye.